Hello and welcome to Liberty and Gun Rights Podcast. My name is James Moffett, and I will be your host. Today is a special edition episode in memory of Charlie Kirk. As most of you have already heard, Charlie Kirk was assassinated in Utah. He was at a local university there talking to students about his conservative viewpoints, his conservative political viewpoints. And he was the founder of Turning Point organization. I think he started it when he was 18 years old, and at the time of his death, he was 31. But he believed in his conservative viewpoints, and he went from one college campus to another all across America, engaging with both conservatives and liberals on college campus. And he debated the other side. He debated those students who did not agree with his viewpoints, his conservative viewpoints. So anyway, I don't really know that much about Charlie Kirk. I'm going to share some of his photos on my screen here for you, and I'm going to read something. I did some real quick research on Charlie Kirk, and I wanted to share those things. So yeah, here are some of his photos. Charlie Kirk was a prominent American conservative activist, author, and media personality. He co-founded Turning Point USA in 2012, a youth-focused political organization aimed at promoting conservative values on college campuses. Here's a snapshot of his life and impact. Key facts about Charlie Kirk. Full name, Charlie James Kirk, born October the 14th, 1993 in Arlington Heights, Illinois. Died September 10th, 2025 at age 31, tragically shot during a political event at Utah Valley University. House is Erika Frantzve, Frantzve. I don't know how to pronounce that. A former Miss Arizona and Christian entrepreneur. Children, 2 young kids, a daughter and a son. Career highlights. Turning Point USA. Founded at age 18, it grew into a major conservative youth movement with hundreds of campus chapters. Turning Point Action and Turning Point Faith expanded his influence into political advocacy and religious mobilization. The Charlie Kirk Show, a nationally syndicated podcast and radio show that amplified his views on politics, culture, and faith. Political influence, a close ally of President Donald Trump, often credited with energizing young conservative voters. Controversies and criticism. Kirk was known for his unapologetic style and provocative statements, including opposition to gun control, abortion, and LGBTQ rights. He also promoted Christian nationalism and was criticized for spreading misinformation about COVID-19 in the 2020 election. Legacy. Despite the controversies, Kirk was widely admired by his supporters for his boldness and commitment to conservative values. His death sparked tributes from all across the political spectrum, including a heartfelt message from President Trump calling him great and even legendary. So that's the summary that ChatGPT gave me when I asked it to tell me about Charlie Kirk. I hope that Charlie Kirk rests in peace, and I am heartbroken for his family. I can only imagine the emotional trauma and the grief that his wife and his 2 children are walking through. I'm no stranger to grief. I've lost 2 children. One daughter, Jessica Ann, was 10 years old, and we lost her to cancer, and then and I lost a 38-year-old son named Jeremy in January of this year. So I'm not a stranger to grief, and I know how painful it is. I know the different stages of grief that you go through. And I can only hope and pray that that family, his wife and his 2 children, son and daughter, have close family, a church family that can come around them and embrace them and support them in their time of need. Grief, it never goes away. You just learn how to live with it. And so let's talk about political violence for a minute. Some nut job, and I call them a nut job because that's probably what they are. They're either a criminal with a criminal history and background, or they're mentally ill. Time will only tell, and we won't know until that person is captured and the FBI and state authorities have a chance to interview them and interrogate them and see if they can figure out a motive. I'm sure they will be digging deep into social media to see what they can find out, and hopefully people close to this nut job will come forward and share information that will enable the authorities to capture this person. What drives people to kill another human being? I can't imagine. Yeah, sure. We've all been angry. We've all said things in fits of anger. We've gotten angry about situations or people or politics or religion. And, maybe we've even wished harm on people because of our anger. but have we gone to the lengths of getting a gun or a knife or a car and mowing down people in broad daylight? No, because that's not what normal people do. We do what's called anger management. We have emotional intelligence, and we learn how to constructively deal with our emotions. It seems like there's a school shooting in America almost daily, almost weekly. The last school shooting I can think about was the Catholic school up north. Was it in Minnesota, Minneapolis? I don't know. And these children were celebrating Mass. It was a Catholic school. These children were in a service or Mass, I guess they call it. Luckily, the school itself was aware of school violence, active shooters, et cetera, et cetera. And so they had a rule that stated the doors would be locked. So the doors were locked. And so when this nut job, who identified itself as transgender, bought 3 guns legally and went up to the school and was intent on going in and killing as many people, as many children and adults as they could. And luckily, the school had the doors closed and locked, so they couldn't get in. So what did they do? What did this nut job do? They shot 100 and some odd rounds through the stained glass windows where the children were. And I believe 2 children got killed, several got injured. I think some adults got killed. I don't know of all the specifics other than it was a horrible tragedy. Those parents are experiencing the grief of the sudden loss of their dear children. Violence, it seems like violence is on an uptick, and we the people are responsible for lowering the temperature of our political rhetoric. I don't have any personal friends that I know of. I don't have any conservative friends that are speaking about being violent because of the liberals or the Democrats. Sure, we don't like the Democratic Party and what they stand for, right? We don't like liberalism. We don't want our constitutional republic to be turned into a democratic socialism, right? Socialism has never worked, and you can just study history to see that. No socialist country has ever benefited the people of that country. So I'm not a political analyst. I'm not a talking head that can speak to all the ins and outs of socialism or any of that. But I do support the USA. You see my USA hat? No, I don't have a MAGA hat. I'm glad Donald Trump is in office, and I'm glad that many aspects of Project 2025 are being implemented, and I like the fact that we're rounding up violent criminals in our streets and deporting them back to where they need to go. And I understand that the this aggressive, active net that is being cast by ICE and the federal government is capturing some unfortunates. There are some people getting caught up in some of these raids that maybe shouldn't be deported, right? But maybe we should take that on a case-by-case basis. And if we capture somebody that is not a violent criminal, is not part of a Venezuelan cartel, not a known drug dealer, not a violent person that has committed violent acts against other Americans or other people or other humans, then maybe we shouldn't deport those people. Maybe we should just cut them loose and say, hey, I'm sorry. I don't think that's what's happening, though. I think if you get caught up in that net, they're sticking you on a plane and deporting you. I know the federal government, the court system has the Supreme Court and some appellate courts have stepped in and been trying to mitigate that which is happening, right? Which is why we have courts. We have court systems, we have judges, we have the Constitution and state laws, federal laws that supposed to dictate what our leaders do. So anyway, like I said, this is just a quick, unscripted podcast episode. I just want to say that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Did not deserve what he got. And as you go back into history, Martin Luther King, JFK. I'm not saying that Charlie Kirk, since he's not a politician, he doesn't can't lift him up to that standard. But there have been a lot of prolific political and religious leaders that have made a lot of positive changes for America and for the world, and they got assassinated, right? So Charlie Kirk is not one of the first. He's one of many, and it's wrong. It's not right. So if you're the praying type, please pray for his family, for his wife and children. If you're not a praying type, just send positive vibes to their family, wife and children. Let's do better. Let's work on how we communicate, what we communicate, how we communicate, and let's have a little bit of love and acceptance, and compassion and empathy for others around us, whether they agree with us or not. It's okay. It's okay for people to believe different things. It's okay for people to be Democrat or liberals. Let's respect them. Let's be civil with them, and let's encourage them. Let's teach them. Let's teach them in a civil manner what we believe and why we believe it. And let's give them the space to do the same. We don't have to agree with them. They may not change their minds, but they have a right to have the space to be respected and understood, right? Isn't that the American way? All right, everybody have a good day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.